Nikola Tesla Engineering is going to be involved in new energy production. It's going to be Tesla Clip. We're going to have revolution, Chris, at the household level in neighborhoods. You're going to have a Tesla Clip for an apartment building. You're going to have a Tesla Clip, a bank of Tesla Clips for powering 30 or 40 homes in a neighborhood, in a condominium, what do you call it, subdivision. We're going to get back to manufacturing. We're going to we're going to eliminate sabotage of the U.S. economy and work toward constructive U.S. economy ventures. We're going to have foreign direct investment with the money coming back. And we're going to have a risk of inflation when those treasury bonds come back, unless they're for productive capacity. And we're going to have a lot of productive capacity. We're going to have incentive for productive capacity. And we're going to be on a gold standard that's going to result in very little in price inflation. What we have a challenge for now is we need to retrain our young people, because they don't know shit from Shinola about math and science. They couldn't do an integral to save their soul. They couldn't do a closed circuit diagram to save their soul.
Jim,
They
maybe
know video
we'll
games, they know cocaine, and they know welfare from the government because they're screwed up in their head. We need to train our young people because we're in trouble.
well, yeah, maybe it's time for the repatriation of Jim Willie, and we could get you here educating our finest minds. I mean, Jim Willie and children,
I'm going to be
natural
winding
combo as far as I can see.
I'm going to be winding down, Chris. I'm tired. I tell you, I'm going to be going a little bit longer. I don't know, a couple of years, 3 or 4 years. I'm still going reasonably strong, but I'm getting damaged by dark, occult, evil forces. I'm being damaged. And I keep going. I keep going. And I get a lot of Christian prayer and aid, Christian aid. And they're wonderful. I need to call a certain lovely lady right now who's helped me a lot, because I'm dealing with something right now on two fronts. Two big costs. I don't want to go into the details. We need to get back to putting a 4-year requirement in high school for math. We dropped it down to 2 years. How do we compete with that, Chris? We don't compete. And Trump took some crap back in December when Elon Musk said we're going to be importing Indian talent from the nation of India. Now, I'm not against that. And if they get, what is it, an H1, or I don't know what you call it, H1N, or I don't know the specifics of what they're called, but it's worker visa. There's a story behind that story, Chris, and that's sort of the interesting little nuggets that I've got in my newsletter. We want India not to be a big science power, not to be a big AI power, not to be a big technology power. We want their best to come to the United States. And it's going to cause a revolution, and you're going to see it in the news. There's lots of jobs if you can become competent in engineering, and that requires mathematics. I've got a colleague who's got a doctorate in electronic engineering. And when we talk shop, Chris, we talk mathematics. We talk about, positive, definite, symmetric matrices. We talk about ill conditioning with their eigenvalues. That's math talk with an engineer. The engineers know mathematics. If they don't know mathematics, they don't go anywhere. The bell-shaped curve is called the error function in signal processing. And my colleague talks about it a lot. He showed me an article about, the error function. I said, that's the normal curve. That's the normal function. He said, yeah, we call it the error function, ERF. Okay, you got to know mathematics. I did something very unusual, Chris, and just a quick side story. I got a 5 out of 5 on the Princeton Advanced Placement Calculus test after my senior year. So they gave me Calculus 1, Calculus 2, and Calculus 3 credit for my freshman year. And I said, I don't want credit for Calculus 3. I haven't taken that. And they said, well, you got a 5 on the Princeton test. I said, I don't give a crap. I haven't taken that. I want to take that course even though I have credit for it. Well, that's a first here at this university. I said, I don't care about your rules. I want to take calculus 3. I want 3D calculus and, acceleration curves and, surfaces and integration over surfaces and polar coordinates. I haven't taken that. Okay. And that's what I took my first semester in college, a course that I had credit for. Okay. Matt, we need math love. We need love of math. We need, we don't need love of corn flakes. No, what do you call it? Corn chips and potato chips. Okay, we got overweight kids who don't even have phys ed anymore. I loved dodgeball in third and fourth, fifth grade. I loved it. Dodgeball. Let's go out and act like a bunch of idiots and throw a nice little ball at each other and try to avoid and catch it. You catch it, the other guy's out. It hits you, you're out. If you dodge it, you keep on going. That was a lot of fun. Well, the fat kids don't do that anymore, Chris. We need to get back to phys ed. We need to get back to science. We need to get back to math. That's what we need to do, or else we're not going to be able to compete. We're going to be importing talent, and they're going to be living in the good neighborhoods. And the dumbasses who didn't take their math and science, you're going to be the workers who get pushed out because you haven't kept up, and you're going to be living in a crappy little apartment.
All right, Jim, I think we're clear on the dodgeball history and other relevant details there. Although, as we're just about coming up on our time, I mean, you've touched on gold and silver a little bit, but I wanted to give you the last couple of minutes. Obviously, we've had the spreads, the EFP spreads surge. We've seen lots of signs of stress. We have the Bank of England saying it takes 4 to 8 weeks to give you your medal. Then they send this guy Dave Ramsden out there that I don't know how many people's concerns he settled down. But anything gold and silver that you would like to share here before we finish up?
I got 47 reasons why gold's going to go up.
I know you were only in the 20s like a month or two ago, so you were busy over Christmas.
I I actually put it together in a day and a half. And my
Wow.
colleague said, Jim, that's a good list. Okay, we got trade tariffs. We got London gold market, I believe, is in default. We got multiple leasing. They call it rehypothecation, so you don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's multiple leasing. You got a mad scramble to replace gold in the bullion banks because they did the multiple leasing. You got corrupt gold by the big banks, corrupt gold leasing. Leasing is going to be very big, multiple leasing. Do you remember in 2008, we heard about the mortgage electronic registry system, MERS? That was to prevent and to manage the titles for mortgages so that only one mortgage bond, only one mortgage bond had one secure stream of mortgage payments. Well, it was 2.5 average. We've got something like 10 or 15. You might have a better number than me. The leasing and a multiple basis is corrupt, and that's causing a scramble now. We got to search for U.S. government fraud. We have lost faith in the fiat currency system. They got to be backed. We got sovereign bonds in Europe and the United States that are considered trash. You got a mandatory audit of the gold reserves. You got a risk of exposing fake gold bars. I think they might find some fake gold bars and make a big deal about it in Fort Knox, but they won't say it's a majority. They might lie. We're going to have monetizing the asset side of the U.S. government. We got an acceleration of federal deficits. We got a systemic collapse where people are now seeking portable wealth. We have the wealthy now, Chris, and you know this better than me. You know the gold market better than me. We have the wealthy scrambling to get the gold because they're afraid that the banks have laced it out and they don't have their gold no more. This is going to get wild. It's not just the audit of Fort Knox that's caused this. It's the big bank insolvency. It's the rejection of the Treasury bill by the BRICS nations. They don't like the Treasury bill for trade payment. They want something real. They don't want toilet paper. I think President Trump needs a short education on what legitimate currency is all about and how he needs to stop weaponizing the dollar. He has not stopped the weaponization of the dollar. And it's sad. Okay, I got only down to about 8 or 10 of the reasons. I have 47 of them. Sign up for the
Jim, I
newsletter.
bet you could
You can
get
read them
to
all.
50 by the weekend. I
Well,
I
I
could see
could.
it.
The trouble is that they really look like number 22 and they look like number 19. They overlap, Chris. No doubt they overlap. And Hollywood is saying got silver. I can see it right behind you. That's Hollywood. They're wondering, okay, we got a big silver deficit going on in industry, and this is not going to last much longer. I I want to see an explosion in the gold market, a revaluation, and then silver follows in the next 2 or 3 weeks. There's no way. I'm very surprised that we're not above 40 right now in silver. They're just doubling down, then doubling down again on their corrupt naked shorts. You know this better than I do, but they're running out. The deliveries are out of this world. They're like 4 times multiple of what happened in January. That was the result of February. We had the first day delivery in March that set a record, and it's on pace for being multiples of what February was. This is exciting. We're about to break the gold and silver markets. We're about to break it. And in Trump's tariff talk, he never said England will have a tariff. He never said that. So that's a false premise for the gold leaving London and coming to the New York sites and vaults. He never said he's going to slap a tariff on London gold. Never said that. You don't put a tariff on the British crown. This is going to be exciting. I am really jazzed at what's coming up in the next several months. And what else can I say? Go down the list here. Could I don't want to get that's a bit too big. The silver industrial demand shortage is annual. Silver is the Achilles heel. We're going to have a silver cartel. I'm pretty sure about it. Okay, just look at the war of words with Mexico. They're going to just block all exports of silver. They're going to make it a national reserve. They're going to make a national stockpile in silver. Mexico, China, and Russia, they're likely to make a silver cartel. Can you imagine the equivalent of OPEC for oil is going to be in silver? Whoa. Limit the supply of silver so we can drive it up past $50 to screw you Westerners who've been playing with the price games. Oh my gosh. Read all about it in the newsletter, golden-jackass.com. Going great guns, but there's economic damage, Chris. Some of my clients are hurting. I mean, one spouse has lost a job or they're underemployed because they refused the vaccine. Their costs are going through the roof. They got double and triple the fire insurance for their homes. Car insurance is much more expensive. If you're wondering why car insurance and home insurance is more expensive now, it's because for 10 years they didn't make any money on the treasury bonds. That's their nut. And that applies to pension firms. So, there's the website. In the yellow in the center is the subscribe button. If, there are a lot of people who don't want to read a 40-page report every month. And fine.
Oh, come on
Well,
now. Even
well, there's some that they don't want it. They don't have time. They tell me that. They write me and say, Jim, I just made a donation of $100. It's because I watched several of your shows and I don't want to sign up for the newsletter. So they hit the donate button and they do it on a regular basis. I love that. That's great. There's a guy who just yesterday did $100 and he does it every single month. And that's not the cost of a newsletter. It's $200 for a year, $220. Okay, these are exciting times. I've got time now for consulting. I have 2 or 3 that I need to do in the next couple of days. They said, well, Jim, wait for your February newsletter to get done, and then we'll contact each other next week. Well, now it's next week. So I'm going to do that. I did one. It was a really interesting lady who had stories and wanted to know about XRP, but she had stories. Oh my gosh, Chris, I'll tell you offline. I won't tell you here. Just a beautiful lady when she was younger and did not get trapped. She did not get trapped in you know what. Um, so go to the website, sign up for the newsletter, make a donation, do some consulting, and if you're wealthy, hit the sponsor button. I'm always grateful. I got a few people who regularly hit the sponsor button, and it keeps me going. Chris, I tell you, the hand of the Lord Jesus, I tell you, without it, I'd be gone 4 years ago. I'd be gone. I got a number of people who helped me in a big way, including an extremely wealthy guy in Mexico who doesn't want me to mention his name, but how many of them are there? And I'm not talking about Carlos Slim. He helped me in a big way in 2019. I'm very grateful to him the rest of my life. I'm talking about nearly $100,000 grant. Uh, I hope this helps you, Jim, to get out of the bind. Anyway, it's a long story. Um, we're going to see silver rule the roost in industry, while gold rules the roost in financial functions. Chris, I haven't been this excited in a long time, and it's like a
Here we
rejuvenation
go.
that happened with the Trump election. And here's my little statement for all the people who are objecting to Trump. All traitors, please rise. Please rise to be counted. All traitors. If you don't want the reconstruction of the United States and you don't want legitimate money, and you're all in favor of financial fraud to divert money to the Swiss Uber lords and the Ukraine, please rise. We want you to be counted. And now it's, if you object to the Epstein files, please rise. You and the FBI. They just fired a New York office FBI guy named Dennehy. It looks like he worked out. It looks like he was, he went to the FBI gymnasium rather frequently. Well, he's gone because he stood up to be counted in objecting to releasing the Epstein file. This is going to go on. The people are losing patience with the Trump people, and I tell them, be patient, more patient. The Epstein files are going to take 6 months to get out. It's going to be drips and drabs. Right now, they're talking about, the batch number 1, and it's going to be redacted. Okay, Chris, this is exciting. It's going to have a lot of parts to it. And we're going to have a reconstruction of the U.S. economy, and we need 5 or 6 different ingredients. I hit on some of them, and I talk about all of them in the newsletter. And this is a labor of love, Chris. Once I get going, I have trouble. I end up working once till close to midnight, and I usually go to bed at 10 p.m. I go to bed at 10 p.m., 10 to 6, 10 to 5:30. I catch the sunrise. It's 5:30 here.
Well, Jim, I sure appreciate that you're up there every day doing your thing. It was nice to hear what you mentioned of some of the people that been able to help you out along the way, and I hope not. Well, I hope you realize how loved you are by a lot of people on this planet. So I won't make you answer that, but there are a lot of people who care
I
about you, and I'm glad helping in some ways to get you through. And I'll just mention one more time, as you said, that the all of this is at golden-jackass.com, which is in the description field right there below. So you don't have to type the darn thing. Just go there and click it. And Jim, it sounds like your February newsletter, even we're already in March, but it sounds like it will be hotter than Costa Rica with Jim Willie on the beach. And that's quite hot as I hear it.
It's
At
not
least,
hot
at
here.
least we did have one viewer asking if you were accosted by any women at your college football bar, but hopefully you're resting up in the off season. And
That's college football, and I didn't even go there for the Ohio State championship. My alma mater, 1973. I went to a Rose Bowl in 1971, Chris. 1971. We played Stanford, Ohio State. I tell you, the most exciting sporting events I've ever been to in my life is Ohio State football at the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio.
and
It
I
is
might
an electric atmosphere.